Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Here to read from the Bhagavatam again. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Alright. Canto 4, Chapter 40, Text 43.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 43. After making a decision, the saintly persons and sages churned the thighs of the dead body of King Vena with great force and according to a specific method. As a result of this churning, a dwarf-like person was born from King Vena's body. Purport. That a person was born by the churning of the thighs of King Vena proves that the spirit soul is individual and separate from the body. I think it proves a lot more than that.
Sorry, it proves that the spirit soul is individual and separate from the body.
Though great sages and saintly persons could beget another person from the body of the dead King Vena, but it was not possible for them to bring King Vena back to life. King Vena was gone, and certainly he had taken another body. The saintly persons and sages were only concerned with the body of Vena because it was a result of the seminal succession in the family of Maharaj Dhruva. Consequently, the ingredients by which another body could be produced were there in the body of King Vena. By a certain process, when the thighs of the dead body were churned, another body came out. It's like science fiction, isn't it? Although dead, the body of King Vena was preserved by drugs and mantras chanted by King Vena's mother. In this way, the ingredients for the production of another body were there. When the body of the person named Bahuka came out of the dead body of King Vena, it was really not very astonishing. It was simply a question of knowing how to do it. From the semen of one body, another body is produced, and the life symptoms are visible due to the souls taking shelter of this body. One should not think that it was impossible for another body to come out of the dead body of Maharaj Vena. This was performed by the sinful action of the sages.
Skillful action.
Oh,
Hello.
skillful. Not simple.
That's sinful and not simple. No.
Yeah, so, okay. This goes beyond test tube babies. It's just like, test tube babies, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know the complete science, but you require particles or stuff from the man and the woman, if I'm not mistaken. But in this case, it's just the man, and that too, no particles as such, but just his thighs. I mean, my thighs are big enough to bring out a couple of people, that's for sure. But anyway, same point. But it's quite interesting, and Prabhupada is saying it matter of fact because it's in the Sastra. It's a fact. It's not like, this is not fairy tale. And for us, for me reading it, it comes across like if I saw a science fiction movie, the irony is I would watch it and accept, oh, this is a science fiction movie, I would accept it. But when I'm reading it in the scripture, I'm wondering how many people are like, okay, one of those things, okay, move on, you know. But also Prabhupada says here, this can be done by the skillful action of the sages. So, as we know, Brahmins can light fire just by mantra, so many things they could do, which is an art, I believe, that is not prevalent now. So the skills that can be done. So in that way, this is an art form, the skill of Brahmanas back in the day, that could perform what we would maybe say magic or something completely out of the box. And that goes to show, therefore, the caliber of the Brahminical caste or ashram, you know? Like, for me, growing up in Indian family, my parents and all whatever, they like to watch Indian films and serials, and they would always, if they were depicted from a certain time, the advisors or the Brahmins, whatever, they were almost comical. Either they're comical or they were a bit sly. Oh, they're giving advice. You know, they're a bit sly, so they give advice according to some inappropriateness, power, whatever, or they were just predicted in a comical way. So and even Narada Muni portrayed, even Narada Muni was, in my upbringing, was a comical character, always, and the way they physically looked and this. And it was only through Prabhupada's books, through the Bhagavatam, which I came to read about Narada Muni, we're reading the Bhagavatam, there's a very high, I learned respect and like what a Vaishnava, what a devotee he is. And same with, I would say, the Brahminical ashram, the Brahmins. It's like Prabhupada is explaining the true nature, as it were, that they can do this sort of stuff. They're not doing witchcraft, they're not doing some magic show. They killed King Vena with mantras, and they've churned his thighs, and they brought out another person, and that's it. That's what they can do, you know. And so all credit as well to Prabhupada for showing things in a very sort of clear and respectful and better understanding. Just speaking from someone coming from that culture, and I can therefore see why it's not always taken so seriously, you know, by certain cultures, as it were.
Certain other cultures, or even people within the culture, obviously.
I meant with it, because it's it's not depicted in that way, you know. Okay.
Yeah, it's I would say what comes to my mind is the principle Srila Prabhupada always says: life comes from life. Life doesn't come from dead matter. That's a kind of an important statement that, as devotees, followers of Prabhupada, followers of Bhakti, that we kind of live by and understand that, life comes from life. Means you can't just put the chemicals in a test tube and shake it up, whatever, and then get the body out. You have to have as you said, the semen from the man and the ovum from the lady, and there's life there. So I guess the question is, where exactly was the life in the dead body? Now the body was preserved with mantras and some chemicals. And of course we know that there is life all over the body. There's little bugs and all kinds of things, cells. So I guess it's just understanding where exactly did that life manifest from within the body. Because a first thought might be that it was King Vena that came out. But Prabhupada says here that isn't correct, because King Vena had already left and taken another body. So anyway, it's an interesting thought and topic. And okay, next verse, 44. Now that's more of the fours. So you got 4th canto, 14th chapter, text 44. Translation: This person born from King Vena's thighs was named Bahuka, and his complexion was as black as a crow's. All the limbs of his body were very short. His arms and legs were short. His jaws were large. His nose was flat, and his eyes were reddish, and his hair copper-colored. I mean, that's a wild one. Text 45. He was very submissive and meek, and immediately after his birth he bowed down and inquired, "Sirs, what shall I do?" The great sages replied, "Please sit down, Nishida." Thus, please sit down, Nishida. Thus, Nishada, the father of the Nishada race, was born. Excuse me. Purport. It is said in the Shastras that the head of the body represents the Brahmanas, the arms represent Kshatriyas, abdomen, Vaishyas, and legs beginning with the thighs represent the Shudras. The Shudras are sometimes called the black or Krishna, because in text 44, the Sanskrit starts Kaka Krishno Tirasvango, as black as a crow. Anyway, the Shudras are sometimes called black or Krishna. The Brahmanas are called Shukla or white, and the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas are a mixture of black and white. However, those who are extraordinarily white are said to have skin produced out of white leprosy. It may be concluded that white or a golden hue is the color of the higher caste, and black is the complexion of the Shudras. Okay, so now we're getting into some, and this will get into that also, getting into some, well, skin color, or what Prabhupada termed, and I always thought was very interesting, what Prabhupada termed skin disease, which is that basically there's dis-ease because of the color of skin. So here Prabhupada is saying that the Brahmanas are Shukla, lighter in color, but he says not what did he say, not very white. Yeah, those who have extraordinarily white skin, like I guess I would be an extraordinarily white.
Yeah, it's very pale.
Then, it's because of white leprosy. Okay. But, so, and those who have black skin, and then those who have skin in the middle are. But, this is interesting because it doesn't, Chaturvarna Mayashisham Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, that Varna is determined by guna and karma, by actions and qualities. Doesn't have anything to do with the family you're born into. Well, I don't want to say it doesn't have anything to do with it, but it's not determined by that. Nor does it have anything to do with the color of your skin. So it's the same thing. It's about qualities. But in general, it seems that this is a general cultural type of thing. So anyhow, interesting.
Text 46, which is the final verse.
Whoa, finish another chapter.
After his, Nishada's birth, he immediately took charge of all the resultant actions of King Vena's sinful activities. As such, this Nishada class are always engaged in sinful activities like stealing, plundering, and hunting. Consequently, they are only allowed to live in the hills and forests. Purport. The Nishadas are not allowed to live in cities and towns because they are sinful by nature. As such, their bodies are very ugly and the occupations are also sinful. We should, however, know that even these sinful men, who are sometimes called Kiratas, can be delivered from their sinful condition to the topmost Vaishnava platform by the mercy of a pure devotee. Engagement in the transcendental loving devotional service of the Lord can make anyone, however sinful he may be, fit to return home back to Godhead. One has only to become free from all contamination by the process of devotional service. In this way, everyone can become fit to return home back to Godhead. This is confirmed by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita. Mam he pata viya pasritya ye pishu papayonaya striyo vaishya tata shudra te piyanti param gatim. O son of Pakrita, those who take shelter of me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination.
Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Story of King Vena.
I think what stood out for me is where it says engagement in the transcendental loving devotional service of the Lord can make anyone, however sinful he may be, fit to return home. And it's interesting because we had a really good morning class today by Sri oh my days.
Sorry.
By Sri Prahlad Prabhu at the Bhakti Center. And so it kind of reminded me of what was said, because forgiveness is the trait of the
Brahmins.
Vaishnavas. And it's a big topic, you know? A big topic. And when, anyway, comments were made about how you would feel if, something has occurred and maybe authorities don't respond how we may want them to, and that. And it's interesting because just before class, when I finished my rounds, I was preparing for the morning class we're going to give. And it was, because we were obviously speaking the same topic as today, so it was around this, and it was something that stood out for me, and it was about how, this path that we're on, it can be, it's not like one time a very, very wonderful Vaishnav, some of you will know, Bhuta Bhavana Prabhu, I always quote this particular sentence, point that he made, which is that Krishna consciousness is not for the
faint-hearted.
Why is he finishing my sentence? For the faint-hearted. Yes. Because it isn't black and white. Okay? And you
like the Brahmanas and the Shudras.
No, seriously. So like here, Prabhupada is saying, even if you're sinful and you've done this and that, you can take to the process, repentance is there, and you can go back to Godhead in that person's lifetime. And then those who are left here and are like, wait a minute, he or she hurt me, they did wrong, did this and that. You're left with your stuff, and some people actually can leave the path, they can have their faith is shaken a bit, because you think, what are you doing, Krishna? Are you even there? What's going on? Do you even care? What is, it can mess with us, because this path is not black and white, and mercy is there for anyone to take, and there's such a vast amount of forgiveness. And that's my point with the verses that I was preparing for the morning class we move next week, because Lord Balaram, as some of you may be aware, gives his mercy to Duryodhana, and that's one of the verses that comes up, and he shares his club skills, not clubbing, Mace. But club. Always his club.
Balaram and Duryodhana go clubbing.
And one could think, like, wait a minute, especially the Pandavas, they could be like, we're being persecuted to death, as it were, and you give him training, and you didn't train him how to wear pleat your dhoti nicely, you didn't train him how to do your hair nicely with a turban, you trained him how to fight, and you're God, for heaven's sakes. The Pandavas, I don't know, it's a spoiler alert for my class if you're going to watch it, but our class, but the Pandavas could have been like, I'm going to become a Mormon, it's like, whatever.
I don't think Mormons existed at that time, but yeah.
It's like, so that's my takeaway, that, this path is, you got to buckle up, girls and boys, because you may not get the forgiveness you think you deserve, and because Krishna knows what he's doing, and he knows how to administer this and that, and it's like a fairground ride. If you don't hold on, you're going to fall out. But the rewards are unparalleled. That's all I'm going to say.
Amazing. Okay. I think we better end there.
All right.
Thank you all very much for your attention. And please read the Srimad Bhagavatam. As you can see, if you read it, it makes you ecstatic.
And hold on.
And hold on, yeah.
Because it's a rough ride.
It's a rough ride, okay. It's very inspiring. Hari Hari.